Imagine waking up one morning, it's July 2001, you're in Kerala, India, this humid tropical place, and it's raining. But it's not water, well, it looks like blood. Thick, red rain.
Yeah, and not just a quick shower either. This kept happening on and off across different areas for nearly 2 whole months. It's easy to see why people panicked.
Absolutely. The immediate reactions were, well, all over the place, weren't they? Talk of divine anger, maybe chemical spills.
And of course, the classic alien blood theory popped up pretty fast. But the thing that really set the scene, the kickoff event, was this incredibly loud thunderclap, like a sonic boom, right before the first red rain started on July 25th.
That boom just adds to the mystery, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that really kicked off the scientific hunt for answers. And that's our mission for this deep dive, to walk you through how science tackled the Kerala red rain, from like local explanations all the way to some pretty wild cosmic ideas.
Oh, so initially, before they really got samples analyzed, there were a couple of simpler ideas floating around.
Trying to explain it quickly, I guess.
Exactly. First, given the thunderclap, some people thought maybe a meteorite had exploded up high, scattering fine dust or ash. Makes sense, sort of.
Okay, a meteor dust theory. What else?
The other idea was weather-related. Maybe powerful monsoon winds had picked up red dust from, say, the Arabian deserts, carried it all the way over the ocean, and dumped it with the rain.
Right, like desert dust storms coloring the sky sometimes. But these early theories didn't last long.
No, not really. As soon as they got the rainwater under a microscope, those ideas basically fell apart.
Why? What did they see?
Well, the water was packed with solid particles, yes, but they weren't mineral dust or ash. They were clearly, definitively organic. They looked like cells.
Organic. Okay, so not dust. Biological then.
Yeah,
That must have shifted the whole investigation.
completely. It meant they had to look for a biological source. And this led to the official study by the Center for Earth Science Studies, CESS, there in Kerala.
And they came up with the accepted answer, right?
They did. Their conclusion was the red color came from massive amounts of airborne red algal spores.
Algal spores. Okay, how did that supposedly work?
It's actually quite logical for the area. Kerala is super hot, super wet, perfect conditions for algae and lichens to just bloom everywhere. The idea is that the intense monsoon storms, especially strong updrafts or maybe even small whirlwinds, literally hoovered up billions of these microscopic spores off the ground, off trees,
Sucked them right up into the clouds.
Exactly. High up into the atmosphere where they mixed with the water vapor, got incorporated into the rain clouds, and then fell down, tinting the rain that characteristic red color.
And that explanation, the algal spores, was accepted by the government, the scientific community, at least initially.
Yes, that became the official explanation. It made sense locally, it used known biological organisms, and it definitely helped calm public fears. It seemed like case closed.
There's always a but in these stories, isn't there? This wasn't the end of it.
Not by a long shot. Fast forward about 5 years to 2006. A physicist, Dr. Godfrey Louis, and Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe, who's a big name in astrobiology, published research that just, well, blew the lid off that neat explanation.
Okay, what did they find? Or what did they claim?
Their claim was pretty staggering. They analyzed the red particles, too, but they concluded these things didn't match any known biological cell on Earth.
Whoa, okay, wait. They looked like cells were organic but weren't like Earth cells? How? What was their evidence for such a, huge claim?
Two main things, and they're both really strange. First, the basic stuff you'd expect in a living cell wasn't there. They reported these particles had no detectable DNA, and no nucleus either.
No DNA, but that's fundamental to all life as we understand it here, right? Algae, bacteria, everything has DNA.
Precisely. That finding alone is incredibly anomalous. If it's biological but has no DNA, what is it? But then there was the second point.
Which was?
Their extreme resistance to heat. They subjected these particles to tests, and apparently they could survive temperatures over 300 degrees Celsius.
300? That's way beyond what normal terrestrial life, even tough spores, can handle, isn't it? Most would be sterilized or destroyed way below that.
Oh, absolutely. Terrestrial spores usually break down around maybe 120, 150 C max, so 300 C is just extraordinary resilience.
So no DNA and this crazy heat resistance. That's what led Louis to his conclusion.
That was the core of it. Based on these anomalies, he proposed these weren't just unusual algae, he called them extraterrestrial biological entities, or ETBEs.
Wow. Extraterrestrial. So linking it back to that initial thunderclap.
Kind of. He, along with Wickramasinghe, connected it to the panspermia hypothesis. The idea that life isn't unique to Earth but spreads through space, maybe dormant in comets or meteorites.
So the theory was a piece of a comet carrying these weird cells entered the atmosphere, maybe exploded, hence the boom, and scattered this material, which then seeded the clouds.
That was their hypothesis, a mechanism for extraterrestrial microbes to arrive and cause the red rain. Now, it's really important to stress, this panspermia interpretation was, and still is, heavily debated and not accepted by the mainstream scientific community.
Right, so you're left with these two completely different narratives trying to explain the same event.
Exactly. On one hand, you have the widely accepted CESS explanation, unusually resilient local algal spores caught up in extreme weather, plausible, fits the environment.
And on the other,
The much more controversial but scientifically intriguing possibility raised by Louis, extraterrestrial entities with bizarre properties, lacking DNA, surviving incredible heat, possibly delivered by a space object.
it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? The accepted science versus this fringe but, evidence-based challenge.
It really does. And I think the final thought to leave you with is this. When we find organisms or biological materials on Earth, think deep-sea vent microbes surviving immense pressure and heat, or perhaps even these red rain particles, whatever they are that push the known limits of life, surviving conditions we think are impossible.
Yeah.
How much do those extreme examples here just mirror the potential for life and the truly extreme conditions out there in the cosmos? The Kerala red rain, whether it's ultimately terrestrial or not, forces us to keep questioning the boundaries we draw around biology, doesn't it? Are there real limits or just the limits of what we've seen so far?